October 1st. Now it's officially pumpkin season. If you want to go crazy on your pumpkin, you're one of those crazy pumpkin people that like pumpkin everything, time to start. That's how I look at it anyway. You gotta wait till the 1st of October. Today is National Pumpkin Spice Day. So what perfect way to kick off pumpkin season than to do something like that. Now, a friend of mine in Connecticut, Guy, I know you're watching, you better be watching, you said you would if I made this, requested something, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And the reason why is because I always do requests for friends if they want something specifically, but I also do it if it's stuff that I've never done before or using new ingredients that I've never tried before. So today we're going to be doing a pumpkin scone. Now, number one, I've never used pumpkins, real pumpkins, like roast them yourself. I always buy the canned stuff. But this one said to use these sugar pumpkins. So we're going to try that today and roast them. We did great with the curried acorn squash soup a couple weeks ago, and that was fantastic. So any extra pumpkin I have, I think I'm going to turn into a soup. The other thing is, I've never used this flour before. It's a whole wheat pastry flour. So I'm imagining that it's going to make it a lighter, fluffier scone than if you just used regular flour or whole wheat flour. So that's something new that we're going to try. And I've never made a scone before. Probably the reason why is because most scones have raisins in them, and I hate raisins. So the first thing we got to do is we got to clean up our pumpkins and get them in the oven and roast them. That's thing number one to do today. So let's get started on that, and then we'll come back later and we'll show you all the other stuff we got to put together to make the scones. All right, be right back. Let's get started. Now, I always thought pumpkin was pumpkin. I didn't realize there was a specific kind called a sugar pumpkin, which are these little pumpkins that you use. What you're going to do is give them a good wash first, because obviously when they grow pumpkins, they're sitting on the ground, and a lot of times you get a dirty one. So give them a good wash on the outside. Then you're going to cut it in half, and it looks kind of like a cantaloupe, you know? So what? And same concept. You're just going to take a spoon and scoop out all the seeds and the center part here, so you have just the flesh on the outside left, okay? Now, a lot of people like to keep the seeds and toast the pumpkin seeds. Feel free if you want to. I'm not doing that. Oh, maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I'll see if someone else in this house wants to eat those, but I don't really want them. Alrighty, so you're just going to do that and clean these up. Okay, so after you scoop out all your guts, you have 4 halves with your 2 pumpkins, and then you quarter them. So they're like that, okay? Hope I have enough room on the sheet here. Maybe I'll turn it that way. Okay, there we go. And you're just going to take a little vegetable oil and drizzle on your pumpkins, okay? Just a little drizzle of oil on them just to help with the roasting process. We've never done real pumpkins, so that's why I wanted to try it. And Guy requested real pumpkins. He didn't want the cans. So we're doing it, like I said, for the request. Now you're going to take a little kosher salt and just drizzle on your pumpkin. And then this is going to go into a 400-degree oven, which has been preheating. And we're going to roast these for about 35 to 45 minutes till they're nice and fork tender, okay? In the meantime, we'll get all our other stuff prepped because we got a lot of other ingredients to make these scones, okay? So put these in your oven and come back and we'll get started with the rest of this. Okay, for our pumpkin scones today, you'll need a half a cup of packed light brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground coriander, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2½ cups of whole wheat pastry flour, 6 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter, a 1/2 cup of roasted pumpkin or canned pumpkin puree, 1 large egg, and a 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, 45 minutes later, and there is our roasted pumpkin. I just want to check it with a fork here. See, yeah, seems pretty tender, I'm guessing. Okay, so while our pumpkins are cooling down, let's get the rest of our mix together here. We're going to take our sugar, break that up a little bit. our baking powder, pumpkin pie spice, which is the star today. Remember, it is pumpkin spice day. Our coriander, our cardamom, and our salt. And we're just going to whisk those together in a small bowl here, okay? Just to make. We have 2.5 cups of the pastry flour. If you're going to use real pumpkin, like we are, roasted pumpkin, you're only going to use 2.25 cups of the flour. If you're using puree, you're going to do 2 cups. Reserve the other stuff in case you have to add it after. But they just, I guess, gave you a baseline of what it is, okay? And you're going to add this spice mix right to your flour here, okay? And just kind of sift that together. It smells great. You really get all those spices, they're really fragrant spices. If you've never used cardamom and coriander and pumpkin spice before, you'll see that it really just gives off such a great smell right off the bat. Okay? Alright, now I'm really going to go the extra mile today. This is a pastry mixer thing. I'm not going to use my mixer today to make my butter and flour mixture. We're going to kind of add our cold butter cubes to this, and we're just going to work it in till we have a course meal. Look at this. Look at the extra effort I'm going through today. Okay? And you just keep doing this just till you have like that course meal. You know, like when we make our pie crust and it kind of gets all crumbly and it's like pea-sized, and try not to splash it all over yourself. And okay, so I scooped out some of our, I still have so much here. I guess 1 pumpkin would have been fine, but that's okay, because if this turns out really good, maybe I'll make a second one. Plus, like I said, I'm going to make a nice pumpkin soup with the rest of this, okay? So, for some weird reason, the only amount you only need 1/2 cup of this pumpkin puree. So, okay. All that work just for 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree? Alright, whatever the recipe calls for. Now what we're going to do is I'm using my immersion blender to really puree this good rather than whipping out my food processor and everything. So I'm going to add my milk to this. And then once that's incorporated, I'm going to add my 1 egg to this, okay? So now, in our big flour bowl here, just make a little well in the center. And we are going to pour our wet mixture into our flour here. And we're just going to mix this, fold and fold and fold until we get a nice dough here, okay? So just like, kind of like when you're making pasta kind of thing, okay? And you make that well. Not that we've done that yet. That's coming, I'm sure, at some point. At some point I'd like to make homemade pasta just to see if it's really all it's cracked up to be. Alright, so just get this mixed so you have a nice uniform dough. Okay, now I'm seeing already that this dough is way too sticky and runny. So we're going to have to add this other 1/4 cup of flour to this. Let's see if it stiffens this up a little bit, because this has to be a dough. We got to knead this dough for a little bit to make our shape, okay? So I'm just putting in this other 1/4 cup of flour, and hopefully that'll help dry this out a little bit more so it'll make it workable to be able to roll, knead it on the counter, okay? Okay, so it took like another 1/2 cup at least of flour to get this to this dough consistency. So I don't know what they were talking about in that video that guys shared with me, but didn't work the way they were doing it. I don't know. That's why, see, they show you these videos and they go, oh, look how easy this is. Boom, 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 look, you got pumpkin scones. No, it ain't. Anyway, I'm just using this as a mold. I'm just flouring it so my dough doesn't stick to it. Because what you got to do now, I kneaded this for a few minutes. Very generously floured work surface because it sticks, I'm telling you. I'm just going to press this into here just to give me this round shape that I want. According to the video, you want an 8-inch round, okay? Let me get my bench scraper. And then what we're going to do is cut this into six. There's our 6 scones. I'm going to put these on a parchment lined baking sheet, and we're going to bake these. Keep your oven on at 400. Might as well leave it on rather than starting it all over again. Unless you do your pumpkins the day before, which you can do, and then just keep the puree in the fridge until you're ready to use it. Okay? So these are going to go into that 400-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. Keep your eye on it. As always, we're baking. Never just put it in and walk away. All right? 15 minutes. There they are. They look pretty good. I mean, I'm hoping that they're baked all the way through. Never made these before. They're kind of big. All right, let's just try to get a feel for it here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's done. It said 12 to 15 minutes. We did 15 minutes. All right. Now, even though I made these for Guy, I am going to have to try one because that is the show. I have to eat everything that I make. So we will try one, and then we'll ship the rest out of here, and hopefully they'll enjoy them. But I still got to make my maple glaze for the top of these because you can't have a dry scone. You got to have something to sweeten this thing up. Okay, so what we're going to take is about a half a cup of sugar. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm not going to make as much as they want because I just want to put a little bit of a glaze. Put a nice pinch of cinnamon in your powdered sugar, half a cup of that, and then about a tablespoon and a half of good maple syrup, okay? And you're just going to mix this together until you get a nice syrupy, glazy kind of mixture. Okay, so see what we got? It's like a thick, make ribbons when you go down with it, as they say. It's like a thick sauce here. It's not liquidy at all. Sitting for a little bit with our glaze on them. The glaze just kind of hardened up and made it nice and shiny. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a Pop-Tart. My favorite Pop-Tart, which is the brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Well, this one's still a little gooey on the sides, but the top is, eventually it'll all harden up. Like, look, it's shiny. It's all shiny. Okay, this is the one I'm going to eat. The glaze is really good. Let's see what the scone tastes like. I probably should have some coffee, but that's all right. It's nice and soft inside. I was afraid it might be like crumbly, but I guess using this whole wheat flour pastry dough gives you that texture rather than like a crumbly. I don't know, I just thought it was going to be like this crumbly, like dry thing. It's actually really good. Definitely would be better with a cup of coffee, but that's alright. We did this one for Guy because he wanted Tony to make it, and Tony said, no, I'm using pumpkin, canned pumpkin. He didn't want to use the fresh pumpkin, the roasted pumpkin, so we did it for him. So now, what you got to do, guys, is Tony make the one with canned pumpkin. Try these, try yours, see if there's a difference. I don't know. And then post in the comments, alrighty? Have a great day, everybody. Pumpkin Spice Day. It's the season. There's a million things with pumpkin spice that you can find. I mean, go to the store. Every day, there's a potato chip with pumpkin spice, for crying out loud. Alrighty? We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. 3 months to go. Today's the first day of 3 months to go. So get on board, share, like, tell everybody about this show. We want to really take off in the last 3 months, okay? See you tomorrow.